I've been looking for you. Your half-brother, King Orm, is about to declare war upon the surface world. The only way to stop this war is for you to take your rightful place as king.
Hey, this is Mike and Chris, and yeah, I'm the guy who said that Justice League was good last year, which has become a running joke among my coworkers.
I have to be honest with you guys, I did not like Justice League. Sorry, Mike.
Justice League is good. It's such a relief to say that. It feels good for me, it's good for you.
Justice League is good, yes.
And here I am saying that Aquaman is good, but this time someone agrees with me.
It's so good.
We're gonna get into it, but first, please subscribe to GameSpot Universe for more breakdowns, reviews of all the things you love, etc. All right, before I give my bad opinion, what's your main takeaway, Chris?
None of it makes sense. It's a movie that is filled from beginning to end with plot holes and logical leaps you just have to go with, and I love it. Like, 'cause who cares? It's just fun and big and weird and not anything like we've seen in superhero movies before.
Yeah, I think my main takeaway, I've seen it twice already because I was like, I need to go see this movie again before I review it so I can like wrap my head around it, or attempt to, but like, it's just insane. It's just completely crazy. And that was my takeaway the second time as well. I was like, I walked out like, no, it's my first reaction was correct. It's bonkers. And it should not work as well as it does, but it does.
But it does, and I'm so happy.
All right, this is a spoiler chat, so real quick, we're gonna talk about the story, which is, it's an origin story.
Kind of.
Yeah, for Arthur Curry. I mean, it spends a lot of time in the present. There's a lot of flashbacks as well. A lot of like the camera just like spinning around in circles as it like switches between the past and the present, which is crazy. But yeah, so Arthur's dad, the lighthouse keeper, finds Arthur's mom, the Queen of Atlantis.
Whose name is Atlanta, of course.
Atlanta. Finds her washed up, and they fall in love and they have Arthur, and then she's ripped away back to the underwater kingdom, and that's like the first 2.5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, listen, some very bad dudes from Atlantis come with like extreme super soaker water guns and like rip this house apart. Yeah. And she has to go, and she has to leave little Jason Momoa behind.
Right, so the rest of the movie is Aquaman. He grows up, Volko trains him, and it's not linear, but it tells us all of this eventually. And then King Orm, who's Patrick Wilson's character, is gonna wage a war against the surface, which I kind of am into. Like, I kind of agree with him. Justice League is good.
Yeah, there's a moment when the below the surface attacks by just throwing all of humanity's garbage back at them. I'm like, yeah, we did that. We deserve that.
Fair move, Orm. Can't argue. Anyway, so Arthur has to stop him. So they gotta find the magic trident, and there's like a whole Goonies style side quest.
They go to the desert, and they go to like somewhere with old statues. They go to a lot of places.
And that's that.
Yeah, so stupid. I love it so much.
Right, and then
everything about this movie's dumb.
There's huge battles, massive, where krakens are coming up through the bottom of the
it's
ocean
Kraken
floor.
Mary Poppins, and she's coming to get you.
All right, so we've established how we generally feel about Aquaman, but specifically, what did you like about this movie?
Oh man, it creates a very strange world that's super colorful and so over the top that clearly we haven't seen anywhere else in the DC universe thus far.
Anywhere else ever.
No, it's like bizarre. Also, I appreciate how committed to just being completely insane this movie is. So many things happen where you're like, that doesn't make sense, but it makes sense because this is a big dumb world they live in.
Right, I keep telling people it's not accidentally insane. It's a deliberate choice that was made. Every part of it is bonkers, nuts, outrageous, but on purpose. So it all fits together in this cohesive way.
Which is super weird because the movie as a whole takes place before and after Justice League, which feels like an entirely different planet at this point.
Yeah, everything in Justice League may as well have not happened. I think there's one reference to it.
Yeah, it's for the better.
Yeah, it is for the better. Justice League is good. I liked Jason Momoa.
He's so good.
He's extremely good. If you saw Justice League and unlike me thought this is a bad movie, Justice League is good. Good. Whatever, let's not get into it. But if you saw that movie and you thought, Jason Momoa, though, is pretty good as Aquaman. I would like to see a whole movie of that. Here, congratulations.
Yeah, it turns out all we needed was surfer bro Aquaman.
Yeah. I also liked Patrick Wilson.
He was really good. I was very surprised. He looks weird, but I'm into it.
His, like, everything about it drove me crazy. Before I saw it, like, his stupid pointy hair and his, like, squinty look in his eyes every time he talks. But, like, he has to say so much stupid dialogue, and the way he delivers everything is just like, I am the ocean master, and you will address me as, like, whoa, okay, dude. I believe him.
And if you were convinced that anyone being the ocean master would sound cool, it doesn't sound cool, it just sounds very authoritative.
I think it does sound cool when
really?
he says it. Yeah,
It's
that's one of the most amazing things, is that he has to deliver some of the worst dialogue maybe in movie history, and he makes it sound so cool.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
Everything about it's bizarre.
Let's talk real quick about, like, just the scale and the visual creativity of this movie, like, in the world design. As soon as they go underwater, as soon as they arrive in Atlantis, it's like, I mean, it's like a lot of CGI. The CGI for this budget for this movie must have just been
Billions
infinite,
of dollars. It's
infinite. I cannot believe, like, I would like to know how much CGI this movie has compared to other movies, because I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, oh, it's the most CGI ever used in any movie. Like,
it's incredible, and the scale. You're right. I haven't seen anything this big in a superhero movie before. Where, like, the wars that are waged,
Yeah.
just the shots that kind of go through Atlantis. It's amazing.
the battle at the end is like all of the forces of the ocean all at once.
The crab people show up for crying out loud.
The crab people are there.
There's a society of crab people for some reason.
And you can see it in the trailer. That is a long scene.
Yeah, it goes on.
What about the flashbacks where Atlan is just raising up and orcas are jumping out of the water, and the pre-fall Atlantis is like this golden kingdom that spreads in every direction all the way to the horizon. People cheering, like, how do they do all this?
It looks so cool.
It's so crazy. Oh my God, like, her dress is made of jellyfish. And,
oh my
like,
God, I forgot about that.
all their ships are like eels or whales somehow. Like, everything is like, it's so visually detailed and creative that for that alone, I think it's such a huge point in the movie's favor, that even when other things about it are bad.
I want so badly to see a cut of this movie where it's just them in harnesses in front of a screen.
Right.
Talking about, like, oh look, there goes like a weird dragon fish with laser guns mounted on it.
Okay, the dialogue isn't quite that bad, but it is bad.
Well, we've talked about what we liked. What didn't you like? Because there had to be something.
There's a lot. I mean, there's more than something. First of all, I want to talk about Amber Heard, because she seems like a nice person,
Yes.
but I don't think that she has, like, well, I said in my review, I don't think she has the gravitas to deliver, like on one end of the spectrum is Patrick Wilson, like delivering bad dialogue with intensity and gravitas that makes it work. And then there's Amber Heard, who's just like getting those lines out, and she says a lot of things, I think, that just come off the wrong way.
So much of her dialogue is like wild amounts of exposition.
Yeah,
you have to be committed to, like, the information you're dumping and how insane it is.
Right, it's a lot of her looking at Jason Momoa and going, if you don't find the trident, then King Orm is gonna wage war. And it's like, okay, we know. And, like, she doesn't make that dialogue exciting. I think we talked about how much CG there is, and I think a lot of the CGI is also really bad. There's a lot that's good CGI, and it looks good, and there's a lot that is bad and looks bad. Especially early on in the movie when we're spending time with Arthur's dad as a young man, when he meets Queen Atlanta, and he's got that, like, CGI de-aged face that it looks like a horror show to me. I cannot look at it. I hate it.
I didn't, and I don't know if I was so wrapped up in the
This is
family
wild.
drama that was unfolding.
This is wild to
Didn't
me.
notice it one bit.
I
I
do not
thought
understand
a different actor played, or that like they aged him up for the older scenes.
That is alarming to me because it's
I have to watch now. Now it's that like I have to watch this movie several more times, obviously. But like,
please watch it again and tell me
I
if you
need to
notice.
pay attention to that.
It's to me it looks as bad as Henry Cavill's jaw in Justice League, which I can admit in
Wow.
retrospect did not look good. Okay.
I admitted it
not
at
a
the
perfect
time.
movie. I know.
It's not a perfect movie.
Whatever. What did you not like?
Listen, as insane as this movie is in a really good way, it takes so many of these massive leaps that we're just supposed to accept. Like water flows underground, or lava flows underground for
Yeah, there's
some
a
reason.
lot of underwater lava. Do you know
Like,
why?
why?
Because it looks cool. as
That's the thing, like lava flows underground. There's dinosaurs still exist.
Yeah. Oh, let's talk about the dinosaurs real quick.
Like, first of all, they all have like so many of the underwater people have like dinosaur fighters.
Yeah, they
ride.
They
on.
ride like, I mean, there's seahorses and sharks, obviously, but then they just like ride dinosaurs into battle.
Yeah.
That's weird enough, because you could be like, well, maybe they're giant alligators. Like, you can try to explain that away.
Right.
But then toward the end of the movie,
When they go
to the hidden sea at the Earth's core,
Yes.
which you wouldn't, how would you even know that's where they are,
thought the
except it
Earth's
pops up a lower third?
I thought the Earth's core was like molten.
Right, it turns out everything we've always known about science has been wrong.
Science,
Dead
you're wrong.
wrong.
Go figure.
Catch up, scientists.
But we get there and there's like little baby raptors
There's
running
raptors
around.
and pterodactyls just flying around.
And nobody mentions it once. Jason Momoa, in theory, I'm sorry, Arthur Curry, in
Yeah.
theory, grew up on
He's
land
lived on the
with the dead.
surface.
He's been to Atlantis now one time, right?
Did he go in Justice League, or was that a deleted scene?
I think that was a deleted scene. But
regardless,
like,
he's barely been there at best.
how does it not?
Never
How is he not
acknowledges
like,
it.
oh my God, dinosaurs still exist?
No one, but that's how crazy the movie is that no one can spare a second of dialogue to be
Nope.
like, by the way, dinosaurs not extinct.
Yeah, and
Cool.
honestly,
Cool.
and their reasoning that we did it because it looks cool makes sense because it
Whatever.
looks so cool.
Yeah. Can we talk about the Pinocchio thing real quick? Because this bothered me maybe a disproportionate amount. But Arthur makes a Pinocchio reference, and then 2 scenes later, Arthur and Mira are walking through a marketplace in Sicily,
Yep.
and a little girl sees Mira do a magic trick and then hands her a copy of the book Pinocchio. For
And then,
no
and
reason.
then Mira's like, oh, I get it now.
For no reason.
Why?
And to me, it's something that a writer came up with because they thought it would be cute if Arthur could make a reference to something and then Mira could later make fun of him about it. And that's the movie, right? It doesn't make sense.
The movie
But
could
you
be
can-
called Aquaman, like Dawn of Coincidence. So much of it is coincidental. They're like, of course she got the book because why not? And now she could be like, oh, that whole thing we did, you planned it based on a book you wrote?
Right.
Oh, it was a book? I only saw the movie.
It's a funny joke. And like
Yeah.
in theory, she would find out about Pinocchio eventually. It didn't need to be 2 scenes later.
No, it did. They had to get that out of there so they didn't have to worry about it anymore.
Wacky, wild stuff, my dude. We should probably talk about Black Manta.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I didn't love him. Like, I get that he was all set up for the sequel, which is cool, but like, he got dispatched of fairly easily in this movie. So like, am I excited to see round 2 of a fight where he got his ass thoroughly kicked?
I don't know about thoroughly. I mean, he like gave the merry chase through the rooftops of Sicily, thoroughly that town up.
Well, yeah, and then he got thrown at like rocks and his mask got all busted. Like
Yeah.
he's clearly beat.
But he's there at the end with the doctor guy. I don't know, which also comics stuff. I don't know. I thought Black Manta was cool.
I thought he looked great. Like I love that they showed him mate. First of all, in a world where so many superheroes and supervillains just magically get their crazy suits, I'm glad they showed him actually making it.
I mean, they jammed literally the entire first half of Iron Man into one 10-second scene with like a really weird musical cue.
Yeah.
Like it switches over and you're like, what kind of movie is this? I don't get it. Speaking of which, the Pitbull cover of
I've been overlooked, stepped on, left for dead.
the Pitbull cover of Africa.
I hate
like
it.
spitting. It's so good.
I hate it.
It's love
terrible.
it. Like it's the quickest, it is the most fast, unnecessary transition.
It doesn't
where
need to be
Arthur
there.
and Mira are walking out of the ocean in slow motion, sunlight glistening, golden, and Pitbull's cover of Africa is playing.
Stupid.
And it happens so fast. I was like, I wish this was 3 times as long. I wish we really dwelt on this like a Wes Anderson movie.
I've been overlooked, slept on, stepped on, left.
Like really just soak it and chew on that sound and that sight.
I would have hated it.
I wanted more of it.
I hope that's like a deleted scene for you.
Me
only,
too. It's
and
fun to disagree
I never
about
want to
stuff.
see it.
Yeah. So we disagree about a few things, but we somehow both agree that this movie works.
It's amazing.
Why do you think it works?
Listen, the DC universe is a big, sad, gloomy, unfortunate place to live.
That is one way to describe
like,
it.
It's not fun. Wonder Woman started changing that tide.
Hey,
And,
this guy.
and Aquaman has gone so far in like, no, the DC universe can be just nuts and fun.
Right, it's
and
just
like,
James
that's all I
Wan. It's
want.
just James Wan going, maybe comic book movies can be comic book movies.
Right,
They don't
like-
have to be a different thing.
Do we need a dark and gritty movie about a dude who talks to fish?
No,
like,
and
no, we
arguably
don't.
that would have turned out bad.
It would have turned out bad.
I think that this movie works because it knows what it is. It's well aware. One thing that we both noticed after watching it is that there's like, I counted and there's 4, maybe 5, depending how you look at it, scenes that are like conversations between two people, exposition dumps, meetings of great people, whatever, that just get like, boom, interrupted by a huge explosion, usually of a wall or a statue or other edifice near them, literally exploding inward to the scene because it's the movie yelling at itself, going, shut up, get back to the action. We want to see the sharks and the lasers. And like that's
Yeah, I don't care about, listen, in
wild.
a movie like Aquaman, keep your heart to hearts to a minimum.
Right.
What I need is some weird stuff happening
there's a lot
and some war.
There's like, we learn a lot about Atlantean lore and
Yes,
history
we do.
and the
There's-
timeline, which by the way,
several different types of people. Oh, the timeline is
we'll get to it. But the movie knows what it is, and every time I started to be like, well, this is getting a little, whoa! There's a huge, it just is like, it.
It's good at keeping
We'll get
your
back
attention.
to the, exactly. Since this is a spoiler, chat, is there any specific Easter eggs or plot points that you wanted to bring up and get into?
I'm sorry, I don't even know what we're talking about right now.
There's so much. Hash out.
The timeline for this movie makes no sense whatsoever.
So let's talk about this for a moment. Let's devote a moment to thinking
Yeah.
about the timeline of Atlantean history, which this movie did not do.
No, I feel like it just arbitrarily throws out numbers, and it's like, no, it works out. Don't worry.
So they go to the Sahara Desert, and they find some shit that has been there since, and this is the movie's own words, since
Yes.
before the Sahara was a desert. The
Yes.
Sahara Desert, geographically, like in real world terms, used to be an ocean at one time, 7 million f***ing years ago, according to Google. I didn't click on any of the results, but
that seems.
it seems right.
I'll go with it. Yeah.
It seems right. So let's go with that
Everything
number
was an ocean
as
7 million years ago.
a minimum. So Atlantean history has lasted 7 million years.
Take that, the Bible.
Yeah. But that raises so many questions. Like, how many different variations of the word Atlantis could they possibly have come up with in that time as to be people's names?
Oh, so many.
Atlanta. Like, there should be a lot more.
Yeah.
They would have run out at some point, though.
Atlantica.
How does the clue that King Atlan left 7 million years ago when he was alive?
You mean the voicemail
The
canister?
voicemail. Yeah. The voicemail he leaves them points them to a statue in Sicily that could not have existed. Like 2,000-year-old statue, maximum.
Yes.
I do have some information about this, however.
But here's my other thing. Like, they make a point of pointing out that Atlantis was the most technologically advanced, blah, 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 blah. And they had all this crazy, like, tech.
Where is all that stuff?
Way back.
Is that what your question is?
Where is all that stuff? And, like, am I supposed to be on Atlantis' side? Because we went 7 million years ago, we were like dummies playing with sticks and banging rocks together. Are you telling me Atlantis had voicemail?
Yeah, they, like, it's too big.
Maybe this is why we threw garbage at them.
I don't think we're supposed to think about it this hard. But I do have some info because I interviewed Jeff Johns and the screenwriters of this movie recently, and we all got a couple theories, right? But the one that I think is gonna stick that Jeff suggested was that King Atlan just lived a super long time. So he was in self-imposed exile, you know, guarding the trident, and the trident has kind of unspecified powers, which means they can retroactively give it whatever powers they want.
So it kept him alive for so long?
The trident helped him. The trident combined with like his sacred mission, like the knight at the end of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, let's say.
Okay.
Although he specifically had the chalice, so
It's
that doesn't quite.
it's just weird
it
to me
kept him
because
alive.
every other Atlantean aged.
Yeah, it doesn't quite. The trident kept him alive, but then why would he leave that voicemail then?
And if the trident kept him alive, why is he a skeleton when we find him?
At that point, if he left that voicemail when the statue was there, it had to be in the last few thousand years. So after 6.999 million years of exile, he just decided, you know what? It's been a minute, and this quest is probably a little too hard. I probably should leave some objective markers up there.
Yes.
And then he swam up through the portal thing.
Sure.
And he left a voicemail.
He managed to avoid all the creepy monsters. There's a lot going on.
And whatever, dude. I'm also glad they didn't kill King Orm.
That's right.
Because if they do a sequel.
I guess, is he a good guy? Maybe? Sure.
I think he saw the error of his ways by the end because his mom told him he was a bad boy.
Moms do that.
Yeah, man. That's all it takes sometimes. Anyway, so we enjoyed Aquaman.
It's wild.
I want to hear what you guys think, so let us know in the comments. Hit us up on Twitter. I'm at Rogue Cheddar.
I'm at Chris Hayner.
And thanks for watching.